All right. Hey, there we go. About to mill the grass. Just sharing a couple things. Okay, so we have 8 pounds. The base malt. And we're going to have 1 pound of barley, which we don't need to mill. 1 pound of oatmeal. Oh, you guys can see that. A bit closer for you. It's time for a new scale. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 ounces black. And then 1 pound of flaked oats and 1 pound of oh, but these don't need to be milled, so I'm just gonna put them in here so that's 13, 16. That's 1 pound flaked oats. And 1 pound of flaked barley. So we'll do that later. Now. I'm ready. Time to mill. Drying out a bucket. So I know it's probably really boring for you guys to watch, but hey, yeah, I'm doing nothing anyway. So, all right. Let's go. We make some. Do I? Hopefully this doesn't end in disaster. pound. Like that. Oh, and then 1 more pound for the party. Perfect time. $15, $15. Let's go back in. Let's see. Where can you guys see best? Try to put them up here. Aha, that works. That should work. Grist. This is what it looks like when it's all milled. It's all ready to go. 156. Mash going now. Now we have about 5.5, almost 6 gallons, and we are at 158. So I'm gonna cut the heat and let it sit. It's gonna sit there for almost an hour. So let's crack open a beer. I'm gonna start sanitizing a carboy for transferring over. I'm also gonna get water going up in there to sparge with. So.
sure your valve's closed first.
Like that. I'm gonna do a party dial also.
Where'd you put your hair tie and your bow? Oh, in your bathroom? Where's your hair tie?
That's a nice looking burn.
Yeah, it's the same as the other ones that I had in there. Should leave this whole thing. $250,000 BT one ounce. Closer to
How much propane does that thing take for a batch?
about a tank and a half. But I'm gonna try. I think it's probably the way I had it too.
A lot of propane.
Yeah, it usually freezes up the tank. I'm gonna try to. Can you help? Everything on this top.
You move it inside.
No, I'm just moving it over so I can see it. There we go. Saying something. Look at this.
Oh, you already cooked it.
It's mashing it right now. So that's to sit here for. I had 75 minutes, but it's probably just. Yeah. Hi. Sure.
Yeah, see, that's how we'll make a moonshine. And this thing.
Yeah.
That thing, ooh, that smells good. Did you tie that bow yourself?
No, Mama did.
You should.
Yeah.
Okay. I gotta keep working. Please look up.
Say that every day. Over and over and over.
Okay. Mash. Sparge water.
And you done to, you're gonna rinse your pants.
So to make the party-gile, I have to rinse the grains a second time. So I'm going to put more water in here than I actually need so I can rinse it a second time. And then when I rinse it, this is going to go into here. Oil. Rinse from here
Hi, chickies.
into here.
Oh, you like that warm light, huh?
Chickies.
Think about it. All right, let's get the new burner going. Bad valves. Shoes. outside or about the same? Okay. Got my sanitized bucket ready. Got my stuff mashing. Strike water heating up. Not much more to do to hang out. Alright, how long did I mash in? Like 20 minutes ago?
Where did that thing come?
Here, let's go back. So, there's plenty of people inside.
Ow.
Please, just. I gotta get the yeast ready. How do we mash in? Let's see here. Okay, so just got to check the software here. Oops. It says 75 minutes at 1:56. We overshot. We way overshot. So I got to check for starch conversion, make sure we got that. All right. So he's in at 125, 225 rather. Smashed in at 225. 75 minutes, single infusion, light body. We already overshot our temp of 148. Supposed to be at 148. We actually went to, that was our goal. Because my burner won't shut off, we overshot. 166. 66 actual temp, which is okay, but still too high. So we modify, if that's the case here, it's going to be more of a full body, I think. Full body batch sparge, single infusion, 156. It's so high. I'm gonna cool it down. All right. I'm gonna cool it down by putting some cold water in there. That's what I gotta do, I guess. It's probably gonna make the beer taste funny, but oh well. So let's get one. 100, so it is right. So transfer that here. What do I want to do? Use cold water. So I'm going to use less. Half gallon. Ooh. 152. That's good. I'm just going to leave it there. 152. Added.
I got all the things I need.
Half gallon of 56-degree water.
There.
254. Dropped temp to 150. What is it? 152? 151. Okay. So let's get these pumps ready anyways. That's the wrong kettle. It's supposed to be here.
Blue instead.
Oops. Setting these up.
All the best.
Here. So initially I had put different fittings on different pumps because I thought it'd be cool to be like specific hoses had to work on specific pumps for specific kettles, but now I realize it's just a pain in the butt. I should have had it all as the same fitting. I don't know what I was thinking. So I have to make sure I have the right hose and the right kettle in the right spot. And it's just a nightmare. So this should be in here. Then you use this pump on it. So that's here. Plus, I gotta clean out these pumps because I forgot to clean them out last week when I brewed. Here. So then this hot water film will be good for me anyways.
Beautiful.
Okay. Here. We'll continue heating that hot. that burner won't turn off. Valve's bad on it. Here's my extension cord. Like from here and here, so this can go there, so that can go back over here, so this can go there. Always make sure your kettle valves are closed. You guys are close up. So this is actually my boil kettle. That goes on the other side. And the only real reason it's different is because the spigot pulls from the outside instead of from the middle. Whereas my hot liquor tank, I have the spigot going from the very middle. It's important for reasons that you shall soon learn. Well, in like an hour and a half. Ooh, I'm not going to put any hops in at the back end of the boil, so there's not going to be any aroma of hop. I don't know if that's a good thing. It's a stout. I kind of wanted the malts to do their thing. It's just going to have 60-minute boil with hops at the very beginning. You guys think there should be something else? I think you may be able to put comments in there as I'm doing this, and I'll change it. You think I should do hops at the end or not? Let me know. So that's all good. There. Flames off so I can move this over. Let's get there. Yonder. You missed it. That's the new banjo burner I installed in the first part of this. Some of you guys, I think, saw it. Maybe some of you didn't. Because then I got kicked, and I got an email from YouTube saying that they might allow me to repost that video. They have to review it. I think I just have the music up too loud or something. I don't know. Whatever. Okay. Back to normal. And then this is going to sparge through this little guy. It's a copper tube. It's got these little holes in it. So I hook the pump up to here, sprinkles the water out of here evenly over the grain bed. And yeah, that'll be sparging. And that's when we're taking the mash water out of the mash, putting it into the boil kettle. It's called wort at that point. And then we'll hop it. Oh, before we do that, that's why this hose is so long. I recirculate it first. So now I can pull from this tank through the pump, circulate it over to the grains itself, extracting more of the sweet liquid. There was a bee. And before I transfer it, before I start sparging. Got it. And you make sure my sparge water is good and up to temp. I use the weldless valves, so sometimes they need a little tightening. I went with weldless because I wanted to be able to move them around if I ever wanted to, or if they went bad, it'd be easier to change them out. Like this one, it's starting to go bad. Uh-oh. Great. All right, gotta transfer it again. It's always something. Okay. Repair this valve real quick. Hope I don't get electrocuted. All right. So this valve bulkhead is going bad. If you guys can see it. So if it's going bad, I transfer the water that I just transferred in here into this other one for a minute. While I repair that, hopefully I have a gasket I can put in there. That water is going to be way too cool now. So I'm going to have to heat it back up. So you can see everything. All right, how are we doing outside? We're starting mashing at 225. That's 306. So we want to go until 75 minutes on. That's just crazy. I'm going to check for start conversion after I'm done with this. If it's good, I'm just going to transfer over. Call it good. Start the boil. Boil for an hour with the hops. Ooh. I need to get the yeast going. That's down low enough. I can fix that. Nice. This gasket right here is what is on the inside of the tank. It's supposed to keep liquid from coming out, but for some reason it was leaking pretty badly, but it looks like it's in a good shape. I'm wondering if I just over tightened it a little bit and it pushed out of the way and was letting water by. Let's see. Well, that might be a tear.
Hello.
Hi.
I have delivery.
Wiley.
What's for you?
You just leave right there. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, right there.
What's
Wiley.
your name because I don't signature.
Nick?
Can I sign
Yeah.
with your name?
That's fine.
Because we do not allow.
Yeah.
Nick?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyway, now that I'm looking at it, I do see a little itty bitty tear on there. So I think I'm just going to try to use it without tightening it so much, unless because I don't really have a spare gasket here. Oh, maybe I do. Nope, that won't work. I'm running out of time. I'm just going to try to not tighten it down very much and hope that it just doesn't leak anymore. Hugo Wiley. This goes on here. There's a nut. It's supposed to be on the other side. What did I do with the nut? Found it. All right, so that works. Guess now I know I need some extra gaskets I have on hand. Cool. Okay. All right, let's see if that works. So now I'm going to go from that thing to this one. Yeah. Okay. These pumps are kind of difficult to prime, meaning filling up with water before you turn them on. Don't move. Good. Oh, I forgot to put this in front. What? Hot water. Okay. Always something goes wrong every single brew day. Never have a flawless brew day. All right. So, it's good. We're over. Let's do that. Here. So I'm going to slowly start to circulate over the mash over itself. Reheat this water. Cool down a little bit, which unfortunately means it's going to be leaking a little bit of gas from this burner, but nothing I can do about it. As long as it doesn't go, which is always a potential, I guess. Try actually to close that valve a little bit with the wrench. Okay. That's heating up. Get this thing circulating over here. Nice dark work. Low. I guess. Check it out. So I got nice frothiness going there. That's what's coming out of the pump. A little dark. Don't want to splash too much. People think you get hot oxidation if you splash right there, but I don't think my beer's that good anyway. So in here, just heating that up. And then this is what's going to be hanging over this guy, the sparget, as we're going to be transferring from here into the boil kettle, which is now pretty much empty. A little bit of water I'm going to drain out of it. And then, oh, yeast. I'll go back. Hops. Hops, hops, hops. And yeast. So it's amazing. What you got? American ale, Irish ale, whip beard, white bread. I forgot what I'm using. Let me check my software here. Hey, Wendy. We're using, hi, sweet girl. Inside out. Huh. I didn't add any yeast yet. Well, what kind of yeast should I use? What do you think, Wiley? Which one should I use? Which one? All of them? That one? This one? You like that one? Whip bread? Let's see. No. Here we go. 40. I gotta heat that up. Okay. Okay, so that's climbing. So I'm going to use 2 ounces of Kent Golding, a bag o' hops, Cascade, Citra, vanilla, nice food. These hops are not for you. Hops make doggies sick. Kent Golding. These should be an ounce each, so I'll keep them around. 2 ounces. Hops! Hops for days! Wiley girl. Where's my girl? All right, which yeast should I use, guys? This is a stout I'm making. Irish ale yeast. American ale yeast, which I think this is the one I should use probably because it's going to make it super dry. But we'll see. That's my guess. Or whitbread ale yeast, which I've never used before. $10.99.
1056 is the American ale, and then 1084 is the Irish ale. I'm thinking either American or the Irish. I'll put these back in the fridge.
You see her coming outside?
No. Okay. Let's see what kind of yeast they use in these recipes. Recipes. Pilsner. That's not going to help me. It stinks. Dry stout recipe. Hey, that's kind of what we're looking at. Why use 1084 Irish ale? All right, that's one of them. And let's see here. Ingredients. White Labs WOP 007. That's an English ale. And then this one here. Ingredients. Irish ale. 2 Irish ales. So I guess we're using an Irish ale. My other one was going to be to check it out and how to brew, but I guess we got our answer. I'm going to go put the American ale back in the fridge. Okay, if you guys don't know, this is the Smack Pack. It's a Smack Pack. What? It's a Smack Pack. It's got the little thing inside. Break it. Gives the yeast some nutrients, some stuff to start with. This thing's super cold because it's in the fridge. I'm going to let it warm up a little bit. Oh, wait. And I'm going to put this in my out of 4 mixture. Let that get nice and so let's check it out. It's looking pretty dark. And then this, gotta check the temp on that. So sticky guys back up here.
Oh, not that anyone's been saying anything, but what hops should I use at the end, if any? I was planning on just using 2 ounces of Kent Goldings at the beginning of my 60-minute boil and nothing at the end. Figure the IBUs would be good with this, and I want the malt to be mostly up front, not so much hoppiness. It's a dry oatmeal stout, but we'll see. If you guys think I should do something else, let me know. Okay. All right, it's been 1 hour. I'm going to check for a conversion, which I probably achieved conversion in the first 5 minutes because I overshot the temp. So let me grab a plate and we'll do that. All right, chick starch conversion. We use a dropper.
Iodine reagent.
And if it
Turns colors.
you know, stuff.
Looks good. Now, if it got real black, that means that there was no starch conversion yet. But turning out nice red, is we're good to go. So that means that the sugars have been converted and fermentation will take place. Well, hopefully.
Okay.
I'm gonna be in the house for a little bit. You need to be in an area where I'm supposed to be, okay?
Right there, okay.
Stinking up like weird gas in here is because the burner wasn't actually burning, just the pilot or the jet. Making it give me a headache. All right, so I guess we'll get ready for mash out. It's been over an hour. So I got heat on this now. Check the temp on that. Mash out's probably like 165. 168. I'll mash out at 168. All right, it is quick because it's turning around the propane. It's have to boil for an hour. Hopefully we make it. Ooh, that smells hot. All right. Come on. Ugh. Just while we're waiting, I'll weigh my cups.
Smells wonderful. One more 2 ounces. Okay. All right, I had to mix it up because it was not showing right temp. Sometimes what will happen is that the grain bed will settle and then the water underneath will start to boil. That's why I'm trying to circulate at the pump. It just doesn't turn it over fast enough to be able to get the temperature homogeneous throughout the entire mixture. If you increase the pump too much, that grain bed that's on top will get really compacted, and then it will become what's called a stuck sparge, and it won't be able to actually circulate at all. So then you have to scrape it up anyways to unstick the sparge. So I just went through and whipped it up, and now it jumped up 10 degrees. So almost at 150, and our goal is 168. This is probably really close to that. Thermometer! Huh, where'd it go? I have a thermometer to install on this kettle. Back where am I getting it? It's bit, my backerbone's not very nice. Turkey fryer. 162. If I go a little bit more. I wish I had my digital. There's one table for me to work off of, and I still manage to misplace them. Ah, Jesus. What are you doing back here? Oh, I'm such a spaz. Okay. 40, 50, 55, 55. All right. So again, just a bunch of hot water. Just gonna sprinkle over my mash. And keep water above the mash as I transfer the mash to the boil kettle. After that, I'm going to start to boil. I'm going to continue to rinse the grains off to make a partaguile, which is just like a second weak beer. And I'll set that off to the side. And what I'll probably do with that, I'll have to boil that for an hour too. We'll see what I do with that. Depends on how much gas I have left. Unhop it? Can you do that? Do you have to hop a beer? You can do. I can do a half an hour boil on that one.
All right, so this one's looking super dark and very beautiful. And I think we're ready to 160. I'm gonna wait till 168. Check it out. Check it out. Look how beautiful that is. And then again. And empty. We're at 160 still. I don't know if you guys can see that. And I got this pump just kind of idling. So it's taking the wort out of the mash tun. It's putting it through the pump. And that's what's circulating over, and that's what's setting the mash, the grain bed right now. Good dog. Hot dog. All right. Anyway. This is looking pretty good. Still some chunks coming out, so I'm going to circulate a little bit more. Almost there to the point where we start sparking. Increase the temperature a little bit. Okay. Now what? So wait. 168. Maybe start transferring. You guys having fun? Yay! You bored? Probably. But hopefully you're doing something else. Hopefully you're still playing Pokemon. Here's the hops. Beautiful. Beautiful rabbit poop. Green. Smells awesome. Last one. Mix it up. Mix it up. That's looking hot. That's almost starting to boil. Right. Okay. E6. Good enough. Oh, overshot. Okay, so let's start transferring. Check that.
So here we go. Let's go into here. If I can show you without dropping a laptop. There it goes, and I want to transfer pretty slowly. And then I need to get the water from there over that. Keep the grain there. Underwater. Brewing. Brewing. Yeah, I can. Too fast. Oof. It's hot. All right, so the water's going from there. Sprinkling way too fast into that. Burning my hand. And transferring into there. Kind of working. So now I'm going to check my gravity. Gravity will tell me how much sugar I'm actually getting out of this. At 1062. 1064. 65. 67. 1067. See it. I don't know if I can show you guys this, but I will try. Take this. You see that little blue line there? And you can see on one side where it said 1.065. The blue line is just above. I know it's hard to see, but so that's what I'm looking at. So that's telling me he's put a little bit of it on here, and then the light goes through it. And that tells you how much sugar is in there. 1067 is the original gravity, meaning before fermentation. So then if I plug it into the calculator, let me see a second. Sorry, I'm staring at the screen, but I got to use the Brew software. So 1067, original gravity, estimated pre-boil gravity, or measured 1067. So hopefully our alcohol will be around 5%, maybe a little bit higher. There we go. So we'll see, 5% approximately. Shot at 160. We overshot a little bit, but it came back down because we had put correct temp water in there. Now this is getting a little bit full. I don't know if you guys can see that. This is sight glass, so that's the level right now. Right now this doesn't have anything in it, so I can increase this pump's valve a little bit. Something that's kind of disconcerting is I can smell burning rubber. I don't know why. I don't know where it's coming from. Maybe one of these hoses got too hot. Smells like hot sneakers. Sneakers! It's going up way too hot, so I'm going to back this off a little bit. Increase this pump some more. That's going down. And you can see that's starting to come up just a little bit right in there. So now I can kick on the heat for that. We need to get a rolling boil. As soon as we get a boil, then we can add the hops. So we also need to know how much pre-boil volume we should have. So we look at here again. Estimate pre-boil volume. Estimate pre-boil gravity 1040. Estimate pre-boil gravity. Measure pre-boil gravity. Estimate final gravity. Total volume needed. Measured efficiency. Estimated. Estimated. I don't have too much. Estimated pre-boil. Where is it? Let's try this. Mash volume needed. It's not mash. Session. Okay. Estimated pre-boil volume 8.25 minutes. Get up to there. So 8.25 gallons at, let me write this down. We should be at 8.25 pre-boil. And then we need to be at pre-boil gravity. Pre-boil gravity, estimated pre-boil gravity 1040, 1.040. Check the gravity again. So let's see where it's at. Ooh, it definitely dropped. So, on the nose, check it out. know this is probably annoying for some of you, but I think it's cool. 1040. Bam. So we don't have enough gravity or enough volume yet. We need to be at 8.25 gallons. So probably going to be a little bit under our efficiency. That's all right. So it'll be 4.5% instead of 5. 4.5% alcohol. That's what I meant. 4.5% alcohol instead of 5% alcohol when it's all fermented out, because there'll be less sugars. Sounds like that needs to have water. I know what I can do. I'm going to put this beer back into the hot liquor tank. Get that one boiling for the second beer. That's what I'm going to do. The first one's going to be in here. I'll let it reach 8 gallons. And I'll go from here into the other one. That's what I'll do. It'll be a small batch. It'll be like 3 or 4 gallons. So since we smacked that pack of yeast, it's starting to get a little bit fat. So as we're sitting here, the yeast are going to be eating some of the food that's in here, getting it nice and fat, and full of yeast farts. And then you open it up and pour it into the cold beer. What's up, Anna? And I'm going to increase this speed a little bit on this pump just to get us right up to the 8 gallons. And I'm going to transfer it over to there. Remember keeping distance, Jana, all right? So now I'm transferring out of the mash tun back into the boil kettle. It's super low gravity beer. So it's going to be probably like a 2% alcohol beer. I could add DME, dried malt extract, to it. But it's not that big a deal. There it is. That's all I added. Almost. There we go. Remember to stay away from all the stuff. There's the second beer. Take a dab on it. There's the dried out grain bed. You guys can see that. And there's the real beer, the primary beer. Trying to get it up to a boil.
Hey, Dana, how you doing?
tells you the. Ooh, it's really low. 10. Basically nothing. I don't even know if I'll keep it. I'm not going to waste the propane on it. Yeah.
You went wrong?
No. So I had this one transferring into here. This is the beer I'm set out to make. And then I had the leftover water in here. I got some extra water for it. For not heat it up because I knew I wouldn't need to do it for one time. And then that was left over in here after I got my volume. I moved it back over to here just to see what kind of other sugars I had left.
So besides this one, what's it going to read?
1070 or 1040? Should be 1040. The temperature throws off a little bit. It's a refractometer. No, I can't show you, sweetie. I'm sorry. You can't get that close, remember?
No, she said nice.
Oh, I thought you said, can I see? You did say, can I see?
She said nice.
Ah, you said nice.
Oh, packages.
All right, hey, I'll ask you since no one,
Yes.
all two people on the internet want to answer. Dave, do you think I should add hops at the end of it as well as at the beginning?
That's the wrong guy. But I know,
You like hoppy?
Jim used to add it, at both ends.
Or is it for stout?
Oh, you ran a stout?
Yeah. I don't think hops should smell. I don't think you can smell hops with stout.
You were really good. Huh? Good beer. I don't know.
I'm not going to add anything else at the end.
Yeah, maybe try it next time.
Well, I was hoping I could do it with this one. Get enough out of it to.
So you're making an IPA stout.
No. This is going to be a oatmeal stout. Colette, that's a bad idea, sweetie. You're going to get that thing all dirty and tear a hole in it? Yeah, not a good idea.
All right.
What are we doing?
It's nice and warm out here, though.
When you're standing next to this thing.
I know. It's great.
Yeah.
Pretty sweet.
Yeah.
So this is plastic, this one?
Yeah.
Pretty stout, though.
Yeah, it's pretty good. This one got too hot and it bent a little bit, which is why I put the heat shields there. Heat shields keep the ball valve from getting too hot too. Still get super hot though. My propane tank's freezing up.
God, that really puts out a That really puts out a light.
Yeah. 100,000 BTUs.
Wow.
I see the tank starts to freeze up and then it doesn't work as well.
That's a nice burger.
They're not
So, I mean, the idea is you want to keep this up as quick as possible?
No, well, no, not necessarily, because if you really heat it up, like if, let's say I preheat it and I throw it in there, it's going to splash and it's going to caramelize, which whether or not you want to do that, are you looking for?
Coming for point.
Maybe inside. All right, so it's getting closer to boiling. How does that happen? It's starting to foam up. So as soon as I kind of get through that, it's called a protein break. When that foam doesn't boil over, hopefully then I'll add the hops. Because if you add the hops before the protein break, I've noticed it tends to want to boil over easier and then creates a big mess. But I'm running out of propane. So I still have to boil for an hour. I have this other tank, but I think I went through it already.
Maybe not.
Oh, that's
Really cool. Angle.
oh, I have a headache. You have any beer? Yeah, I'll take a beer. Now that the end is in sight, we're going to have a beer. I see there's two people watching. I'm wondering if one of them is me with my phone and one of them is only one person, which is probably the case. I think it's just me. Oh, it feels good on my burnt fingers.
Is that regular mail around that?
No, it was some guy. Some rando. Gonna get foamy. Alcohol. The guy said he had to.
Oh, it's alcohol?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. That was her Legos. Train. You know, knife.
Knife. Where'd you order it?
I was gonna say, man, we're down our last beer.
We have plenty of wine, and we'll have plenty of beer soon. Don't drop it. Come on. It's burning. Boil, finish this up, craft cool it, add the yeast, clean up, go to bed. Where's Colette? Colette! Dana, where's Colette? Want your bed? Oh, yes.
Holiday IPA.
Nice.
There you go.
Bow to your master.
Session IPA, Golden Road. You got some sun today, dog. You got a little dancer going. Yeah. Let's move your way. 12 pack of Anchor Steam. Booze. This isolation.
Howdy. Nice. Quarantine brew. Nice. I didn't realize. I can't type like this because it's Yeah, okay, so quarantine brew. Yeah, I'm not making Corona beer. That's a bad joke, I know. It's still, I think it's funny.
I'm going to put this down in the fridge in the shop.
Oh, Brandon. Should I put hops at the back end of the beer? So obviously, start my boil at 60 minutes, add hops. That will give me bitterness. And then as it goes on, I don't get a whole lot of aroma from the hop because it boils a lot and it goes away. Should I add hops at the back end also that flame out to get some hop nose? I wasn't going to. I was going to let the malts do their hoppiness or do their maltiness thing. So what do you think? Oh, here we go. Check it out. Almost there. Protein break is coming. You said yes. You mean yes? Add hops at the back end to make a hoppy oatmeal stout? I don't know if you're working while you're doing this. Where's my spoon? It is. You fix that. This is the protein break.
Whoa, it's the what?
Protein break. So the proteins are breaking down. So this is why you're worried about boiling over.
So, Nick, this is the protein break. And what does that do?
Right now, it's getting to a certain temperature range where the proteins are starting to break down. Then after 2 minutes, it'll go down. Then we can add the hops. If you want to actually know the science of it, you can crack open a book.
Let's see while we're waiting for the protein break. Glossary. Here. Protease. Proteolysis. Starch. Sprinkle. Tannins. How about boil over? I bet you that's in here. Basic terms. Beer stone, balling, bricks, Play-Doh, biotin, buffer, concoction. There's nothing in here about protein break? There's gotta be. Oh, you're saying hops at the end. A good hop nose is great. Just a smidge. All right. So I have Kent Goldings that I was going to do for the 1 hour. And I have some Citra that would give some citrus. Maybe some citrus up there. No, you know what? I'm going to use only Kent Golding. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a 1/4 ounce. Let me see. So right now I have 2 ounces. So if I do 1.5 ounces, but 3.8 ounces. Okay. Put that much in the back end. Just a smidge. That means I am doing this.
What's parents up to? Big old black bear. I'm playing with Legos. Building cabin rocket.
So let's do a 1/2 ounce. Actually, let's do 0.2 ounces. So 1.8 ounces will go up front and then 0.2 ounces. Not Citra if it's a stout. Okay. Kent then. Yeah. Yeah. So you're it's an oatmeal stout. I don't know if I said that. So I'm making an oatmeal stout. It was there was a whole bunch of stuff at the beginning, like 2 hours ago. But I think I'm agreeing with you, no Citra. I used the Citra and the IPA, double IPA I made last weekend. So I'll just use the Ken Golding for the bittering and the aroma hops. It is 4.4 alpha acid, so that's pretty low, I think. I think like 8 or 9 is a high alpha acid. So I don't know if it's the best idea, but we're going to try it. So single hop oatmeal stout. I think I'm running out of propane. It's a nice boil, but it's a little quiet. Okay, so check it out. Yes, metal. So it looks like we're past the protein break. So I'm going to go ahead and add the hops. Let me show you. You get to see the hop gloriousness. It's awesome. There it is. Ah! And getting the screen all smoky. What time is it? It is 17. So we'll flame it out for 5:17, and we will throw the rest of those hops in, and it goes going back down. I have to change out this propane tank. Propane tank. Sexy. There's a dog on my kettle. No, just kidding. Yeah, the brew is hopefully very good. I am drinking some Belching Beaver Deftones Phantom Bride IPA. You ever had it? It's pretty good. A little light. It's kind of like the IPA I made. But we'll see. See how it comes out. Okay, I gotta change this. Let's see the action. What am I doing? What people want to see. This is prime time. I need to send you a bottle of Black Metal Stout from Jester King. That sounds good.
I actually haven't had very many stouts lately. The guys on here.
It's snowing.
This one will be the first stout I've had definitely since the lockdown. Wow. Okay. Kill this. Turn this off. I realize that a 20 psi regulator is too much on here. I should really back it down to a 10 psi regulator because I'm getting these tanks are frosting up on me before they're empty. And I'm not really getting an optimal flame on the burner that I should. The other thing is I had to update the casters. I don't know if you noticed. Put little fat casters on it. They're very nice. Make it roll really, really easily. Ooh, baby. This beat. Yeah, definitely. I'd appreciate you sending me out that beer. I got probably the best one we have nearby is the Farm Strong. We make some good IPAs. They're Stack and Hay IPAs, like something I always keep a keg on tap. Hey, I'm going to show you since you probably missed out because the first video got canceled. I think because I had my music on too loud and probably Robot heard it. So this was over yonder, beer I brewed last weekend. And there's that Farm Strong keg I was telling you about. But so this is a brew that I made last weekend, double IPA. It's doing pretty good. It's in secondary. I put it in secondary yesterday, I believe. And I took the yeast from that and I got it in here. So that's probably going to go into something I might brew tomorrow also. We'll see. But I was able to, because this is a double IPA, so it was like 7.5%, 8%, something like that. I tasted it when I was transferring. It's actually really good. It's I did a lot of water adjustments with pH on that one to try to get more bitterness out of it. And because it seems like our pH is super, super low here. So I added more than I think I needed. Also, I think my test strips are bad. So I wasn't getting a good read. So I'm gonna buy 2 pH meters. I'm gonna buy the $15 cheap pen type pH meter. I'm gonna buy, I think it's like $120. Has 2 probes on it. It's really nice. The probes, from what I hear, only last about 1.5 years, and they have to pay $50 to replace it. So I don't know. I think I'm gonna use them side by side for a few days and maybe return the really expensive one if it ends up not like living up to what it should, because it has like a 30-day return policy. Anyway, I'll get on that tangent. So this thing came out really good. Tastes really good. Has kind of a strange, when I was tasting it, like 3 levels of taste. First, it's like Batman Hout. First, it's like homebrew, you know, that normal, like, oh yeah, it's all right. And then it's looks tasty. And then it's like super bitter, like citrus, like grapefruit. Like Lee really likes the way it tastes because it's super grapefruity. It tastes like grapefruit juice. I think that's the Citra and the Cascade together. I think those two really do that. And then I think also with all that gypsum I added to increase the pH, I think that made it super hoppy. And then it like tears again to a final taste of like back of your teeth. You can actually feel the hops on the back of your teeth. It's like almost too hoppy, but I think that might be the pH thing adjustments I did. The water chemistry maybe a little off. But that's that one. So hopefully it turns out really good after it sits for a little bit. So then I was able to rinse that off and make a party guile. And here's the party guile. And I tried to do a cool ship on this. So I had it sitting in an open keg, kind of like that one, with this screen material over it overnight. It's like real heavy, thick screen because I didn't want bugs to get in. I left it outside overnight, and it's crazy. I gotta check it out. And then okay. And I was hoping that I would get a spontaneous fermentation on it. And so I left it overnight, transferred it into this thing, because at that point it was cooled, because I didn't crash cold, I let it cool outside. And I thought for sure something would get into it, but it wasn't doing anything. So then I took, I let it sit for a week. I thought I saw a couple bubbles coming out of it. And even now, it smells a little sulfury. So we'll see if maybe some kind of bacteria got into it. But I ended up pitching the yeast that I have in here, just like 3 milliliters, or it was higher than that. Let's see, 300 milliliters of active yeast from that one into here, because it's basically the same beer. So But we'll see. Maybe it'll do a little farmhouse thing. Maybe it'll be terrible. Maybe there's going to be too much bacteria in it. I don't think it will because it didn't go off like I was expecting it to. Yeah, anyway, just sitting here chatting your ear off. Might as well just be on Skype if it's just you and me.
Hot equals hot. 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 Cheers. Another thing I've decided to do is knock the
tub on the side. I don't know if you can see it. It's stuck on the side there. I knock that caffeine nowadays because I think that it can add on more flavor back into the beer. If it comes out from the first 10 seconds of boiling the beer,
why not knock it back in? What is it doing? It's not like it's bacteria or anything, so I knock it back in and let it keep doing its thing. I remember back in the day when we used to brew, I was always worried about that. But hey, we hit the 2-hour mark. What time do we start boiling at? Don't use a scrubby brush. Yes, scrubby brush bread. Ooh, speaking of scrubby brush, I got a new scrubby brush. Hold on. So fortunately, I did break my last glass one. The plastic one, I think I ended up throwing away. Got a new glass one. But the scrubby brush I have for it is soft. It's a soft scrubby brush. So it's actually, I don't know if this would scratch the inside of the plastic ones. Glass ones are good. Until you forget that you have it inside a bucket of sanitizer and you just drop something into it and it breaks. So other good beers that are up in this area, looks like a toilet cleaner. It does. Rubbing against my face. We have a bunch of other breweries around here. There's a brew trail, they call it. There's one called Chuckanut Brewing, which is pretty good. They have actual, I think it's Chuckanut. They have a school there. Is it Chuckanut? Yeah, I think it is. Because next to it, it's either Chuckanut or it's Cardinal. I think it's called Cardinal. Because they're right next door to each other, but it's a school. And the school, they're open one day a week, and you're able to go in and actually taste the beers of the students. And it's kind of weird because it's like a school setting. Like there's just a bunch of plastic tables, and then they have like whiteboards, and then there's just like a small window where you can go and get some of the beer to taste. It's pretty cool. And there's a brewery in Austin called Austin Beer Works, and they make an amazing blood orange IPA. Nice. I like blood orange IPAs. I'm still thinking about making a stout with orange because I think it's really good when you have orange juice and coffee in the morning. So make a coffee stout with orange. I think it would be really good. But that might be kind of what we're trying to avoid here with the Citra hop. Yeah. You think it'd be good? I don't know. I think maybe if I didn't have the Ken Golding in here and I used some of those other orangey hops, and ooh, I could adjust the pH like I did for that one and get that super grapefruity flavor out of it. I love. You would drink it. Yep, I would drink it too. Even if it was terrible, I would still drink it. What time did we throw the hops in? I thought I wrote it down. Drop them to 151. Oh, man. You would want orange peel, though. Yeah, I think so. Orange peel on the citrus or actual orange. So we have a lot of apple trees. And so we're probably going to make some cider this year. We have apple 6:15ish. Thank you. Wait. Oh, but you're okay. You're 2 hours ahead. Right now it's 4:30. I even called it out when I did it. Dang. I wish I could back up on the video. Yeah, I thought I wrote it down. What was I saying? Oh, so we have apple trees. So the apple trees, we're going to make some cider, and we're also going to, we have a cherry tree. So I want to make an apple cherry cider. I think it would be really good. Now that I'm really kind of getting back into brewing again, since we're home on the weekends finally, yeah, it'd be nice to make something that's actually good to drink instead of just making apple wine, which is terrible. So, which tends to happen if you don't brew often enough or don't make cider often enough. It comes out over fermented and tastes horrible. So, do you think 6:15? That'd be 4:15. Right now it's 4:30. We've only been boiling for 15 minutes. Let's see if I can watch the video. Doesn't look like I can back it up. I'll take your word for it. We've been boiling for 15 minutes apparently. This feels like longer. I have a voice message.
I don't know the hops, so you were asking me about the hops. 6:14 my time, so that would be 4:14 your time. That's what you were asking me about. Should we put them in at the end and stuff like that? And I'm not sure we did it then.
Okay, that makes more sense. Okay, so I think it was. Mash stand at 225. I have that. 148 mash roll, 166 actual temps. So we went over, so I had a half a gallon of 56-degree water. Pull it down. Finish mash. You know what? I should have a big clock here, so then I can just review the time, and then I can just go back later and write it all down. Because that's, the lazy way to do it. Well, let me think. That test anybody? Yes. That's the people that are watching the live. Fine. Let's see. You know what? I'm gonna say 4:15. I'll find out. Usually I have a timer, but I don't know where my timer is. So, I can look at my volume to know what my post volume boil should be, or post boil volume should be. Let's see. Stare at my lovely mug as I look at the computer for answers. Let's see.
we have post volume, estimated pre-boil volume 8.25. We got it to 8. Post boil volume, estimated original gravity, estimated pre-boil gravity, measured pre-boil gravity, measured pre-boil volume. Put this up to 8. Into fermenter, batch size 5 gallons. So it's hoping I'm going to get 5 gallons out of it. And now we're at about 7.5 gallons. Oh, look at Wiley. You sweet pooch. Sweet pooch. Clock. See, I have, let's see. I'll probably be in and out of the stream. I have to click back in. Thanks for chilling. Okay. There's a bee. So we are brewing a oatmeal stout. I'm calling it Inside Out Stout. The goal was to make something very dark and very drinkable for people that don't like stouts. Because people think stouts are heavy and thick. Unless you know anything about anything, and you'll know that there's a lot of very light stouts. Even like Guinness is a nice light stout. So that was the goal, was to make something that was dry, but I wanted to put a little bit of mouthfeel with oatmeal. So maybe I was contradicting myself by putting oatmeal, trying to make a light stout or a light mouthfeel stout, but I was really trying to concentrate on the mash temp. I was trying to make sure to mash in at a nice low temp to get a low body beer, but we overshot, so we lost that. So I have a feeling this is going to be a very... Wiley! Hey guys! Can you stay just at the base of the driveway over there? You're not hanging out with us too close? Thank you. Neighbor kids. Yeah, I was hoping to just have everything be super light, and I don't think that's the case. I think it's going to be very, very heavy mouthfeel, malty beer. Oh well, I'll drink it. So right now, I forgot what time we started boiling at. I want to say we're about half an hour in. I think we're about a half an hour in. It's about 5:10. I'm going to flame out. Right now it's 4:38. It's about 5:10. Kick the flame off on this. Add the last little bit of hops. Just a little bit. When I was talking to that man on the chat stream, he recommended doing a little bit of hops on the back end. That would give us some hop aroma and flavor. But most of the hops are at the beginning. I was planning on only doing Kent Golding hops at the beginning of the boil and then seeing what happens. But I decided, input from him, to do a little bit of hops at the back end also. Still Kent Golding, so it would be a single hop beer with the other ingredients. So it'll be good. I didn't do any mash adjustments on this, any water adjustments at all. The beer I made last weekend, I did a bit with adding some other minerals to make it pH come up because the pH is super low here. pH is like 4.5, which is super low. Normally pH is at like 7, should be at 7. So I tried to increase the pH a little bit, but I don't think my pH strips were reading correctly. So I think I added way too much calcium. Yeah, I think. I could be totally wrong, but I think that's what I did. Anywho, glad to see there's at least one other person watching. Or somebody left their phone on in their pocket and I'm talking to no one, which is fine too. Just nice to sit here and watch beer boil. I guess it's not beer yet. It's still wort. Smells green. It smells kind of like hay, a little grassy.
You have all these toys out. How about you clean up? You know what you're putting together? You're gonna play with all of them? All right, while I'm waiting for that to finish boiling, I'm going to clean it up. Let ride so close again. Colette, don't ride so close to the top. What, all this? Yes. Okay. So the next step is going to be crash cooling the beer. So I'm getting the Terminator prepared. I just need to run a hose over to it. Oh, I need to start preparing my carboy fermentation vessel thingy. Yeah. So I got my carboy, fill up some iodophor, some water, scrub it out, let it sit for at least 2 minutes, and then transfer that over to. So then this beer will transfer into here after it's week. Some water.
So I'm starting the sanitization process of the keg, or the carboy.
Got my nice graduated bucket here. 4 gallons of water, 4.5 gallons. My Oatmeal. This is 1 teaspoon for every gallon and a half. So that would be 3 teaspoons. I mix it up really good because I don't want to be staining my bucket. That is freezing cold water. There's one thing here I didn't have to worry about where I used to brew. One thing here that I don't have to worry about, where I had to worry about where I used to brew. This is super cold water, so it makes it super easy to cool down the beer when I'm done. Before it wasn't like that. Or the groundwater was so warm, the beer would only just get down to temperature if I creeped it really slowly through the heating. Okay. Here. I'm going to use something I've already had sanitized for a while. I imagine it's moving sanitizer. This is a gravity type. That's transferred from here into there. And I'll hit it a couple times with my scrubby brush. And then let it sit for a few minutes. Oh, and I need to put an airlock on it eventually too. Here's the yeast I'm using, Irish ale yeast. So normally this is 1 pack of yeast. I would recommend using 2 packs with the higher gravity, depending on the date. I use 2 packs of my IPA I use with a double IPA. It's a little older. But this one, it's a lower gravity beer, meaning there's not going to be very much alcohol. And so I'm just going to use 1 pack. I took it out of the sanitizer because, like I said earlier, the groundwater is so cold that my sanitizer was freezing. So I wanted it to really kick off. It's getting a little bit more fat. The yeast are getting active in there. It should be nice and plump when I'm ready to pour it into my beer, into my cooled beer. And while this is transferring, I guess I'll hang out. This is going to get another fill, top that off, scrub it out, let it sit, let it drain. And then I'm going to start cleaning my kettles. Almost the end of the brew. We are 2.5 hours in. It's pretty good. Not too many issues. We had an issue with this valve leaking. So I had to disassemble, I had to transfer out of it, disassemble it, fix it, transfer it back into it, heat it back up. And in that amount of time, this burner won't shut off because the valve is bad on it. So I had to we overshot our temperature. It caused a little issue with that. So we had to add 1/2 gallon of cold water to that to crash it down a little bit, to get it more in the temperature we needed it, temperature range, which matters for flavor, mouthfeel, and all kinds of other things. And then transferred over, boiling it, just doing a single hop addition. Our aroma hops that flame out. It'll start to crash cool it, bringing it to here after it's crash cooled. And then Probably another 20 minutes of boil. And then ooh, we need to add Irish moss too. I almost forgot. I forgot last time. I can't remember. Check this out. Walk with me. So, Irish moss is actually like I call it finning, like this. This is a different type, gelatin finning. So it's this is a little bit difficult. You have to soak it in cold water first for 1 hour, and then add it to the boiling water to dissolve. I like using Irish moss. Irish moss is just seaweed, crushed up seaweed. And what that does, like a gelatin, it coagulates inside the beer. So when it's starting to ferment, it makes larger flocks that ferment. And then it actually, when it's all done, all of that, and also probably in there, as it's still hot, it gelatinizes some of the proteins together and then gets a better, more clear beer. So homebrewers don't really filter their beer. I don't know if you guys do that. You, my single viewer, but you don't need to filter. It's kind of silly. So it's not like we're making a crystal clear lager. So I use gelatin finning. I also make sure to spin it when it's in there. It's called warlofting. Spin it up so that then all the hops and trub and everything gets stuck into the middle, and then I pull from just the outside of the mash of the boil kettle, and that creates a nice clear beer too, because most of that junk is left over. Back combined with this, I've had great beer. Can't get to that. I have to do this at the last 5 minutes of the boil. And it's usually, I just use like a cap bowl. It says a teaspoon. I had my whiteboard because I was thinking about hanging it up here, putting all the important times on it. Might be a good idea since I forgot when I started the boil, which is kind of a big deal. It will change the flavor significantly. I'm going to make another batch of this stuff. All right, 4.5 gallons of water. Again, 1 teaspoon of iota 4 per half. 3 teaspoons. 1. 2. 3. I get that dribble on the outside so I don't stain it. days. Only thing I don't like about it. Otherwise, I have, well, if I can keep my hands submerged for 2 minutes, I have 4.5 gallons of hand sanitizer. It's kind of important in this world. I don't know if you want to keep your hands wet for 2 minutes while you're waiting for it to work, but if you're doing surgery or something. All right. Getting closer to the end of the boil. So my propane tanks tend to freeze up and they stop working because I'm using so much gas. Probably not a very good thing, kind of unnecessary. But what I'm trying to do now is put the tanks closer to the whole brew system while I'm using it. So hopefully it stays warm and keeps it from freezing up. Sweet. Okay, we need an airlock. Another scrubby brush. Two. Got a bung. You're a 3-piece airlock. I prefer the 3-piece. I used to cut it. They used to have this little thing right here. I would cut it off, but now the new ones don't have it. They would get plugged up. Really stupid. I'm going to put a little cross across the tip there. I guess to keep it from getting crushed. But now it seems like they don't make it. They get plugged up with hop residue. And then when that happens, your whole bung pops out. That's terrible. Your bung will pop out and you make a mess, as bung poppings usually do. So now I'm cleaning this out. Sanitizer. The lid. The most important part is actually the bung. That's the one that's going to be in there closer to the beer. These ones, I like them because they're easy to pull out because they get this little lip here and they're kind of hollow. Problem is though, that, I don't know if you can see it, way deep inside there, you get some buildup of bacteria, which is kind of annoying. So I actually have to use the back of this thing to scrape out inside of it. Anyway, getting to the nitty-gritties here. I still like them. Farm over the full-size ones, the whole corky bungs. I have a bung preference. Okay, let's scrub, sanitizing. This is almost full. Before it gets all the way full, I'm going to scrub it out with my screw brush. I just scrubbed this thing out yesterday when I was transferring the beer out of it. So it's in pretty good shape. Just a quick scrub down, probably all the way. cooled down needs to be sanitized, because if there's any microbes or bugs or anything on it, it will actually impart those flavors into the beer a little bit, good or bad. So it's real bad bacteria, it'll make it super bad. It's really good bacteria, it'll make it taste really good. But typically, you don't want random bacteria in your beer, because good or bad, it's not the kind of beer you want to make. So, sanitize everything that touches the beer after it's chilled or crash cooled. Fill it all up to the top of the sanitizer. Goes. So that needs to sit for at least 2 minutes. It's clearly been longer than that, but just let it do its thing. And then I'm going to drain it out and let it air dry upside down for a few minutes while I'm getting ready to transfer the beer. And then we can go. So one thing I like doing is trying to overlap what I got going on here. I'm going to start cleaning.
This has got to be really boring to watch, but I guess if you're sitting at home doing nothing, it's better than other YouTube videos. Probably not. Anyway, I'm going to start cleaning. I'm going to start with this one here. This is my hot liquor tank that I actually tried to transfer another beer into, but unfortunately there wasn't any sugars left over. So I did have some beer in here, or wort, but there's not, you can see there's a little bit of silkiness in those bubbles there, but there's really no sugar in it to get me any kind of beer. I checked the gravity on it. It was 1010. Usually beers, after they ferment, are just a little bit under 1010. If you're lucky, sometimes they ferment at 1010. So it's not worth it. It'd be like making kombucha or something where it's like point something alcohol in it, and with all that work, it's not worth it really. So and I don't even think it would taste very good. So I'm gonna go ahead and dump this out, come back over, rinse it out, leave it off the side, and then start on my mash kettle or mash tun. Has all the leftover grains inside. You can see here, lots of empty grains or drained grains. So that you can make it into dog food, doggy biscuits. You can dry it out and put it on a tray and put it in the oven. I don't know how long. I've never made it. Thought about making it for the doggies because they would like it. But yeah, that's that. Otherwise, I'm just going to probably dump it on the base of the trees and use it for fertilizer or something. And then obviously the boil kettle. That'll be last. Here we go. I'll be right back.
This is still boiling hot. If I pour it on the grass, it'll kill it. So I'm going to pour it down.
So I'd say that's about good to go. I think 5:15 is when we're going to finish. So right now it's 5:08. We can go ahead and add the Irish malt. 1 teaspoon. And then at flame out, I'm actually going to add these guys. That'll give me just some hop aroma. Now that this has been fermenting for a while, I gotta get my not fermenting. Now that this has been sanitized for a while, I can dump it out, and then be able to let it air dry a little bit. In the meantime, I gotta get hoses set up to start the crash cool process. Give it a shake to try to create a whirlpool. Makes it very much faster. And it's really good for your back. Really just good. So luckily I have my kettles just the right size to do that with. So it'll sit there and drain for a few minutes. Get as much sanitizer as I can. Gotta get those with this. So for all the water so far that I've used, when I pull it off of the tap, I use a food grade hose. But right now, this water is never going to touch the beer, so I use it regularly. So here's one through here. Liquid's going to go that way. Okay, here, back side. Let me show you what I'm doing. So not just assuming here. There's the therminator. Put the pipes accordingly, and I have 3 minutes to figure this out. So cool water's coming in here. Check. Hot water's going to be coming in through here. After I turn off the boil. So I don't want hot water coming out here, and I don't want cold beer just falling off here. So I'm going to attach this guy onto here. You also want a little bit of a way on the back side of them to slow it down, and that gets all the air bubbles out. All right, attach a hose on here. But this is the only hose I have with this thinner side. It's hard to fit next to the ball valve, so I'll put this on here. And I'll put another. Onto this guy. And I've got 2 minutes to spare. And I run this one out to the grass. Okay, now the important part. Pick it up a little bit. Sanitize my hands a little bit. So I have this in a sterilized solution. There we go. And I have a thermometer on it. This is what the cooled beer is going to be going into. This is my sanitized doohickey. Oh, was sanitized at least. Go. Sanitizer. So that's going in there. And here's my temperature. So this guy is going to tell me what the temperature's at as it's going through. It's a thermometer. Thermometer. Cool. Pretty nifty. So I'll know if it gets too warm. Let's move this upstairs there. Okay, and we are right on time. So kill the heat. It's done. Oh, one thing I have to do is actually have to pour out the first part. Hops going in, aroma hops. Hopefully you saw that. Work kind of fast. Get my spoon. Start my Warlock. Just spin. Spin, spin, spin. Right. Pretty good. So now there's a little bit that's going to come out of there. That's going to be real nasty. I guess I'll use these. So first little bit that comes out of the heat exchanger is going to be the water I used to clean this, and which I never sanitized it. But I guess I used it last weekend. It's good. I ran a lot of water through it. Forgot to do that. Oh well. Okay, so I guess that'll be another mistake. It's always a mistake. So it's warlofting. It's probably pretty good. I want to get this pump going through here. So let's try to start transferring. To turn on the pump. It should also be somewhat sanitized. Pump, turn the pump on. Oh, I need to get the water going first to cool it. Okay, so now I'm sending water through this guy. See, it squirts out through this little thing, so it's going through. I get some slaps to try to get the air bubbles out of it. Now I'm going to kick on my pump. I'm going to get this junk out of here. Once I see it coming out of there black, pretty good right there. I'm going to sanitize this again a little bit. Okay. And then there we go. So you can see it's already coming out 60 degrees. On my pump again. There we go. So you can see it going into here. It's staying at about 66 degrees, so it's coming out a little bit too warm. So I'm going to slow it down, 68 degrees. So I slow down the flow coming off my pump. So that's the reason I have this on here, so I can throttle my pump. The cooler I put the water, the hot water through, the cooler, see it's already dropping down 66, 64, it's going down to 62. I don't know if you can see that. It's color coded. So it's right about 62, 64. So that's a good speed right there. I'm doing this thing here just to hold it for me. I need to get a sample of this. So here's the dangerous part. I got to get a little sample, check the gravity. Also, I like to kind of give it a little taste. I can see the color. Okay, so there we go. Dripping. Okay. So, cruising. And so what I'm doing is hooking up the Warlock. He's doing well. Let's take a look at it. It's hard to see now. As we get further down, you'll be able to see that everything gets trapped in the middle. And we're just pouring off the outside. But as you can see, it's coming out really clear. So, or at least, not clear, but doesn't have very many particulate in it. It's hard to see. Smells sweet. Not really too much, actually, of a hoppy smell. Well, maybe a little. It's a little hoppy. Just a little bit. A little bit hop linger. Still obviously real sweet because it's not fermented yet. So it's going to sit for a week in the yeast, which are right here. You see this bag's gotten a little bit fatter now. Tell me there's active yeast in there. So let's check the gravity of our beer, of our wort, and see if we got, or see what we're going to be working with. So it's unfermented, so I can still use my refractometer. If it was fermented, I have alcohol in it, that's when I use my hydrometer to check to see what the final gravity is. So let's see here what I got.